This week, what an honor to share one of our greatest deer stories of a true legend, and the young lady that chose to hunt the 11-plus-year-old giant. Taylor was ready, confident. She'd earned her chance. I couldn't have been prouder heading in with my little girl, because I knew if we were lucky, that maybe, just maybe, we might have the chance to witness the deer of her lifetime. Millions of deer hunters head a field each fall, and for many, this is the goal, the dream. There's a reason that a big mature whitetail is the most sought-after game animal in the world and the hardest to get. We live our lives hoping for an encounter with them, documenting them. We teach our children so they can share the appreciation and carry on the tradition. You put the time in, the work, the practice, and live the lifestyle just to spend time in the woods with these incredible animals. Then we're no different. We head a field with the millions of others each fall, hoping that when it's all over, we can share the story of a legend. Man, it's awesome to get to hunt these deer every year, follow these deer for years like this and pick sheds off them, and gorgeous, gorgeous deer.
Stealth Cam presents Canadian Whitetail, brought to you by Ozonics, undetectable, undeniable. New archery products, hunt with confidence. Monster Meal, attraction, nutrition, results. Muddy, serious gear for serious hunters. Excalibur crossbow, different for a reason. Glendale 3D targets, the biggest and toughest 3D targets in the world. Hunter's specialties, serious hunting tools. Boyd's hardwood gun stocks, better with Boyd's. Nocturnal lighted nocks, switch on accuracy and let it glow. Heater bodysuit, #1 in cold weather hunting gear. Rackulator, score your trophy fast, easy, and accurate. Central boiler outdoor wood furnaces. And by Stealth Cam, proven reliability, proven quality, proven performance.
The lake buck, a legendary deer, over a decade old, and I couldn't even count how many times we've set up on the deer, almost all with no luck. We picked up on the assumed 4 to 5-year-old in 2014, a nice deer with potential, but in 2015 he really grew, now sporting a 170-inch class typical frame. In 2015 the deer was incredible, gorgeous, and I headed in with a good friend, hoping to get an encounter with the lake buck, and after many days, we finally did.
Stuck in here as quiet as we could. I came in today and checked the card here actually, and it was a little concerning because from what we found on the trail camera, it was by rights this deer should be. We should have killed him, I know.
The deer was smart, only there when we weren't, and had a habit of vanishing after early September. But this night, as light fades, we'd get our first up-close look at the lake buck. As big as we assumed he would be, my friend got ready to shoot. We instantly knew the shot was high, but how high? I felt it was lethal, but days of searching turned up nothing. After the shot, we trailed the buck and searched for him for days, only giving up after we learned that the lake buck was still alive. Incredibly, he had survived. We could see the wound, but no one knew if he'd make the winter. But the next year, surprisingly, he turned up. He'd gone way downhill from being wounded, but the lake buck was alive. In this one clip Steve filmed was the only encounter we had for the year, as like often, after the first week of the season, he was gone. Going forward, we didn't know what would happen with the lake buck, but over the next 6 years, the old boy showed us that you can never count an old buck out. 2017 again found him significantly regressed, but in 2018 he started to come back and had significant growth in 2019. With just this long-distance clip of the buck the first week of the season, it was nice to see him recovering now at 9 or 10 years old. Although as expected, he vanished for the rest of the fall, and we were able to turn up just one of his sheds. In 2020, the lake buck was back, not quite what he was, but a gorgeous deer nonetheless. However, we were unsuccessful catching up with the buck all fall.
And now in 2021, at an astonishing 11 plus years old, the lake buck looked tremendous, outstanding, although still nearly almost unhuntable.
We picked back up on him in early June, and even then we knew he was on track to produce his best track ever. We knew we'd want to hunt him again, but we also knew our track record with him was terrible. Although this year we had some new information to work with.
This segment of Canadian Whitetail has been brought to you by Glendale, the only 3D target with a replaceable 4-sided core. Glendale, the biggest and toughest 3D targets in the universe. This segment has been brought to you by the Raculator, the only electronic scoring tool in the world. Built for all antlered game, the Raculator guides you step by step to score your trophy fast, easy, and accurate. Available only at Raculator.com.
Early 2021, the lake buck already looked great despite our poor track record finding him in the season.
Although this year we had a new trick up our sleeve, some information that we had learnt last fall.
After taking the buck that we had set up for, we left the stealth cams out, and just by luck, we had landed smack in the lake buck's bedroom. And he was there all fall, not disappearing like he does from our old spot. So we were headed in with a brand new plan for an old buck.
We set up this spot last year. We hadn't hunted here for a few years. We set up last year for a specific buck that my wife wanted to hunt, and we had some residual information from that. So about a mile away, we've been hunting a buck we call the lake buck. Every year that we hunt that deer, right after the first week or two of September, he disappears. And after my wife came in, she took her deer here on the very first night. We kept this stand up. It turned out that's where the buck ended up, and he was here for the rest of the fall. So this year, we're kind of being proactive. We're all set up on the lake there. If that buck disappears, we're gonna hope that he comes back into here. It makes sense that he's moving into the bigger timber here after the pressure gets on once he gets out of the velvet. So knowing that big lake buck might end up over here, we decided we'd come in and we get it fully set up. So we're gonna move the stealth cam down here now that we're all set up, get some more monster meal out, and when the season comes, hopefully have a target buck to hunt.
After setting up, on our first trip back to check the stealth cam, he was right there, and boy were we in for a big surprise. The lake buck was amazing, growing week by week a massive long beam frame, splits, and stickers. After a decade of hard winters and being wounded by a hunter, at 11 plus years old, he looked his best yet.
Now this year we had a new plan to hunt the deer, a new perspective, and maybe our greatest weapon of all, a very optimistic young lady who was certain that this was the year.
Words can't describe the memories I've had with my daughter in the field, a very accomplished little lady stacking up some big bucks, and let me tell you, she's earned them. Every year setting up, scouting, putting the time in, she's actually helped set up blinds for the lake buck since she was just 7 years old. And this year when she seen the lake buck, she fell in love, and when I explained that it was a very slim chance hunt, she seemed to want the challenge even more, and set out on a summer of practicing, waiting on the September 1st opener. After putting in the time to ensure that things she could control were ready, it was finally time to head in. Walking in that day, I'd be lying if I didn't admit that I was excited that she'd picked such a tough deer to hunt, selfishly, because I knew that meant maybe the entire fall for me, hunting with my daughter Taylor.
This segment has been brought to you by Nocturnal Lighted Nox. String activated. Simple. Switch on accuracy and let it glow. Nocturnal Lighted Nox. Canadian Whitetail has also been brought to you by Flock Archery Targets, the world's #1 archery target. Halo Optics Premium Rangefinders. Tacticam, share your hunt. The Buck Bomb, natural and synthetic lures. Hawk, hunt from above or attack from the ground. AAE, quality and dependability in all our products. Black Eagle Arrows, superior carbon technology. And by Cyclops Lights, get out of the dark. This segment of Canadian Whitetail has been brought to you by Boyd's Hardwood Gun Stocks, the world's largest manufacturer of aftermarket hardwood and laminate stocks. Boyd's offers stocks for over 1,200 firearm models, so you can make every gun better with Boyd's.
September 1st, a very hot Saskatchewan whitetail opener, and Taylor was headed in day one to hunt a colossal old buck.
She said this year she wanted to hunt a big one, an ancient old lake buck, and he's pretty tricky. We've never had any luck getting close to him since 2015, since six years ago. But last year we learned a little bit of new information on where he goes to, and he's been here early this year. We'll see. Maybe she'll be lucky, or maybe she'll learn that when you try to pick out a real big one, that sometimes the season can get a little extended, but I've got faith. Do you have faith?
Mm-hmm.
Settled in, the deer began moving early on this gorgeous Saskatchewan evening. What a treat it is to spend an evening like this in the woods with Taylor as this shedding young buck arrives. As we watched deer moving through, I kept my eye on the young buck. As while filming the other deer, I noticed that he was growing more and more concerned with something to our right. And as we leaned out to look, we could see something the camera couldn't just yet. Tines, and then more tines, working closer. And then it happened. On just day one, early, the over decade-old buck stepped out. Prepared for a hunt that we thought would take the entire season, we were in disbelief that the giant was right there. But Taylor needed no coaching. She knew just what to do. And as he moved forward, broadside, Taylor was not going to waste time. But this is where the nerves really set in. I felt I had just seen a perfect shot and that the buck would tip over right there, but he didn't, and just began to slowly walk off.
Welcome to this week's Canadian Whitetail Scouting segment. Locate, learn, set up, hunt. Brought to you by Muddy Outdoors.
Sweet November, that wonderful time of the year when those big old bucks let their guard down and only have one thing on their mind. The rut has been the despise of many bucks that are almost unhuntable the rest of the year. They're vulnerable now, as their desire to breed approaches the same level as their desire to survive by evading people and predators. The rut is unpredictable, hard to plan around, but there are things you can do to increase your already favorable odds this time of year. Early in the season, we base our hunting on patterns, knowing when and where that deer will head, and intercepting them.
In the rut, that's all out the window. Patterns are gone. Bucks may not even eat for days on end. So we shift from hunting patterns and food sources to hunting what that buck really wants, does. If you're hunting a specific buck in an area, hunt the does in that area, where they're traveling, where they're spending their time, where they're bedding, as that target buck will be just as focused on them as you are. If during the rut your target buck goes missing, just be a bit patient. If he finds a hot doe, he could be locked down for days and you're not going to see him. In the peak of the rut, we're often hunting the mature bucks just in that time every few days where they're searching for another receptive doe before they're locked down again. If you're not hunting a specific buck, still hunt the does. Spend the time to see where, when, and how they're traveling, and that's going to be your quickest route to encounters with bucks in that area. More so than rubs, scrapes, fields, or past patterns, hunting the does in the rut, where they're bedding and where they're feeding, will often give us the most encounters with bucks in any given area. But be ready, this time of year, things happen fast.
This week's Canadian Whitetail Scouting segment has been brought to you by Muddy Outdoors. Create your own muddy moment. This segment is brought to you by AAE. Innovation and integrity is in our blood. Quality and dependability is in our products.
Lady Luck on the very first day, Taylor had gotten her shot at the Lake Buck. I had expected the deer to tip right there, but he didn't, and just slowly walked off.
Taylor, that is a giant buck. Like, that's a giant deer. He's awesome. And that deer is ancient. But we're being pretty quiet because the shot looked good, but he didn't react like we kind of thought he would. At the edge of the bush there, I thought he was just going to fall over, actually. But he didn't. He stopped. He stood there for a minute, and then he walked off, so that made me a little bit nervous because you don't want to jump him or make any noise to push him in case he's up there. But the shot looked good. I'm sure it's fine. We're going to go home and have another look at it. And that's a huge buck. Well, we didn't see too much in the blind because the deer didn't react like we thought he would. So we waited a while. I got out, I snuck over and I grabbed the arrow, and then we just snuck out here. Had a look at the arrow here. It's pretty dry, but there's some dark red blood on it. We're just gonna have to rip home and have a closer look, so I'm not too worried. I'm pretty sure that there's not many scenarios where that's not a dead deer. Might just have to be smart about it and leave him for a little bit and make sure that we don't jump him if it is liver, so we're heading back.
After review, he was slightly quartered to. I knew it was a dead deer, but always preparing for the worst, we chose to wait until the morning, just in case all she had hit was liver. Taylor shot the big lake buck last night. The shot looked good. When we looked at it again, he was quartered towards a little bit, and the reaction after the shot is kind of what worried us. Steve came over, we all looked at it probably until 11:30 or midnight, and we were gonna come have a look, but everybody was nervous, so we decided just to back out. So we got up at 5:30 this morning, everybody kind of met up, and we came out, and I'm glad we waited. I don't know if we had to, because the big lake buck is right there, and he still put some distance on. It's about 200 yards. After watching this deer, this deer's an 11-plus-year-old deer. This is the first time that, well, we're gonna have a look at him where he doesn't run away. Well, there's the lake buck. That's quite a deer you got yourself there, kid. He was sure a pretty deer when he walked in, hey?
Yeah, I got really excited.
That might be the longest we've ever watched a deer, hey? He's up there.
He's been a while, yeah.
And a tough deer to hunt. He was shot and wounded in 2015, went downhill for several years. In the last 2 years, we've sure tried to get him, but been unsuccessable. And then Taylor said she was gonna get him this year.
First day, I said.
And we left the house and she told Mom that she was gonna shoot him on the first day. And well, Rochelle kind of gave her a warning on being overconfident. but there he is, what a gorgeous deer. And all it took was a lucky little girl to get him, I guess. That's maybe the answer now when we're not having a good time trying to get a deer. We're just bringing Taylor.
Bring a kid along, yeah.
But you might be a few years to find a bigger one.
That's all right.
But it'll be fun looking for him. What do you figure?
Looks pretty cool.
That's pretty cool, yeah. You got yourself a tremendous deer, girl. Beautiful. What an experience, what a memory to be there with Taylor, to watch her reaction and her appreciation of the gorgeous old buck. And though I thought it would take all season, what an honor it was to watch her notch her tags and place them on the handsome ancient lake buck. It's amazing how a minor adjustment on a deer that we thought was nearly unhuntable could land the giant on the very first day. The lake buck stepping out, those few moments are the awe-inspiring moments we all dream of, strive for, and to share those moments with my daughter Taylor, well, what an experience. Congratulations, kid, on one phenomenal deer, the deer of a lifetime. And whether it takes 1 year or 15 years, I look forward to every moment along the way, trying to top it. Thanks for watching this week's episode of Canadian Whitetail.
This segment is brought to you by Wild Edge, makers of the ultimate climbing system, the Step Ladder. Safely design your climb in any tree with the most versatile, lightweight, and compact climbing system, the Step Ladder. To book your own dream hunt in northern Saskatchewan, contact us at Canadian Whitetail Outfitters. Canadian Whitetail is also brought to you by these fine sponsors. Stay up to date with Dean and the team by following us on Instagram, liking us on Facebook, and subscribing to our YouTube channel. For Canadian Whitetail gear and apparel, information, and newsletters, visit CanadianWhitetailTV.com. For past episodes and never-seen content, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel or search for us wherever you stream.